Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here. I'm really sorry I cannot speak your language. So I felt partially like the Dashpoint people because I was trying to understand what was going on the stage. And I come originally from Sarajevo, from Bosnia, from ex-Yugoslavia, so I can understand words, but not really the full thing. And I would like to thank two young people that were helping me around translating pieces, bits and pieces, so I can understand what's going on here, Irina and Konstantin, who helped me here. Thank you very much for this experience. This is my third TED. I was in TED in Vienna and TED Pannonia, and now being in TEDxKyiv, it is a great pleasure and excitement, basically. As I heard earlier, Ukrainians are very entrepreneurial. So considering that fact and considering what I've heard and considering the age of the audience here today, I have done something what entrepreneurs have to do is to adapt to the market, adapt to the needs of the market. So I've changed my presentation totally, or partially, or a big part of it. And so I'm going to improvise, and that's what entrepreneurs do, is when something happens, there is a change on the market, and this is what you do. This is what differentiates a corporation from a small business or an entrepreneurial business. The corporate world, big corporations are going to die, I say. It simply doesn't work. They are just simply too big to fail. Come on. I mean, they don't do good business, but they are too big, so they can't fail. And if you're a small entrepreneur and you want to have some money and a loan, well, nobody cares about you because you're too small to grow. So basically, I think that the corporate world will need to change, will need to adapt, will need to become more flexible. If you look at the entrepreneurial scene in Europe, almost 99% of the businesses are small and medium businesses. More than 50% of the businesses in Europe are an average 2 people, just 2 people. But the point is that if these 2 people get together with other 2 people, and another 2 people, and another 2 people, you can get a force of people, a network of businesses. And this is basically the idea behind my company, Brainswork. We have a very small office in Vienna. I'm based in Vienna, in Austria. We have a small office in the US, but we have 132 partners worldwide. This means that we can grow to 700 people if needed. That's already, you know, well, quite a few. You can do a few things with that. But we are extremely flexible. We are fast. We can react, and we can have the best people for the exact needs that are on the market that we have to fulfill, or the clients we work with. As I said, I was born in Sarajevo in Bosnia, but I changed. I lived in Tunisia, I lived in Spain, went to a French school, to an American university. That was something that was really great in my life, is that I was raised partially in this socialist country, but then was educated in this American system, which allows me to have this diversity of seeing things. And this was also something that was spoken today about experiences and looking at other things. This is very, very important, is to look at others, how others do things, how other branches do things, and how do they solve problems. Basically, if we go back, I mean, this was really interesting to see Dashpoint here today, because I think this is an example of what's going on around in our world. If you think of it, you have these 16, 17, 18-year kids sitting at home, making, you know, developing programs, developing companies, and one day they become the founder of Facebook, and the founder of Google, and the founder of whatever. And this is a new world. This is something that is really happening, is that you have a whole new generation of young people who are extremely successful. And I've seen this, you know, the situation where there's a crowd of almost 1,000 people sitting in an audience, and there is one of the founders of Facebook speaking, and you hear all these old men with gray hair sitting. What does he know about business? Okay, you know. Like 1 billion people connected, almost. No, he has no clue about business, certainly. No, no, no. Yeah? So there's a whole new generation coming. And you are a new country. You are a new generation. You can make something really different here. Let's do a little bit of statistics and math. In general, 99% of the projects that are presented to a business angel or investor are rejected. No go. There are many reasons for that. One of them is that they are not well prepared. We will go back to that. But let's do some statistics. Approximately, there should be about 400 people here in this room. Let's say that each of you has a business idea, and let's say that 2% of these business ideas can be financed. And let's say that each of you gives 1,000 euro in a pot, in a fund, and you say, okay, we'll do something together. Now we have 400,000 euros. We can start a business here. Okay? That's a force. That's a huge force. Of course, there is the scalability and the big money and everything, but it is also the fact of people coming together and saying we want to finance. Who of you like the Dashboard project? Okay. They don't have enough money to develop it. What are you going to do about it? Okay. How many of you would invest in a book? Okay. There was this woman. She wrote a book. Her book was presented to 12 publishers. None of them wanted to invest in the book. One publisher took it because the daughter read it, the first chapter, and said, I want to read the next chapter. What we are talking about is passion, strast. Yeah? Passion. This little girl read this first chapter and said, Daddy, Daddy, I want to read the second one. And Daddy said, yes, baby, I love you, so we go for it. Yeah? So what he does is they give an advance payment of 1,200 British pounds. I mean, you know, that's not really a big deal. It turns out, a few years later, the books are translated into 56 languages, and 400 million copies of these books were published, and we're talking about Harry Potter. The passion of the woman behind it, Rowling, to do it was enormous. She had no money, she had nothing, she was on her own, with a child, working and writing in cafes, but she had this passion to finish the book, to do it. And it took her years until she got there. And somebody just ridiculously invested this ridiculous small amount of money just because a little girl liked it. And it turned out that she was the first person to become a billionaire by selling a book. Never, ever has that happened before. So you never know. There might be here a Rowling with the Harry Potter idea. And you don't know. I spoke to many investors and business angels. And for example, they all say that they would have never invested in Skype. Or at least one that I spoke to that invested in Skype, but invested in Skype just by coincidence. He said, you know, considering the business plan, he would have never done it. That was not possible. Luckily enough, they owed him some money, so he said, okay, you don't have to pay me back, give me equity in your company. Turned out he made a few millions. Yeah? There's a lot of things that happen in business that we cannot predict. Nobody predicted, or very few people predicted, the crisis that we had in 2009, 2008, 2009. How do we think we can really predict what an innovative, creative business can be in the future? How do we think we can predict the people's mind? If somebody would have told you, well, you were not, most of you were not born at that time before the computer started, but would have told me that I would be sitting in front of a screen 8 to 10 or 12 hours a day, I would say, berserk, you know. But that was the big idea. So there is no research we can do in terms of the future. We cannot predict the behavior of people. It is very difficult. So coming back now to the Business Angelina, is basically the business angels are people that invest in businesses before it comes to banks, before it comes to investors and venture capital. These are people that believe in the team and the idea, and they invest into the business. But what is really important about business angels is that they don't only invest money, but they invest their knowledge and experience, and they invest their network. If we would say, let's say half of you doesn't have the €1,000 to invest into one of the projects, but you certainly have some kind of knowledge, some kind of experience, and some kind of connections to other people that would be of value to the new starting company. So it's not all about money when starting a business. It is very strongly the passion and the team and the belief that the people that are behind it will really go for it. In 2010, I had about 250 startups or wannabe successful startups now in my office and talking to them. That's a huge amount of people that had ideas and visions and wanted to have something and achieve something. And most of the ideas were really ridiculous, unfortunately, from a standpoint of a classical business, but not from a standpoint of empowering, developing this person and giving them the opportunity to develop their ideas. And that's what business angels do. They help you develop your idea in a way that it can be a business idea. And the Business Angelinas is, the idea behind it is to invest even earlier. It's really at the stage when it's only an idea and before you have a business plan, where you have to recognize if you think that the person is able to do that or not. And if you think of it also, there are almost no women investors. In the UK, it's only 5% of all business angels are female. Only 5%. In Austria, there are a lot of women that invest, but there is not a single one that is known for being a business angel. I don't know what the situation here is, but I don't think it's much different. So what does it mean? It means that we are saying, no, we don't want 50% of the money because you're a woman. Or on the other hand, because I'm a woman, I'm saying I will not invest in these enormous opportunities that might be my business. So we've got to do something about that also, is to have this diversity of having both men and women investing. And women do something more than men do, and I think we will be hearing something about it later on, is about this caring. And this is what Business Angelinas do. They have female characteristics in their investment, so they're both for men and women, but it's about caring of your startup so that it grows. It is about being passionate to see a startup grow. It's not about just making profits. Of course you want to have money at the end of the day, but it's not the first reason why I invest into that. And the point being that each of you either now can find a business angel, or maybe you will, as soon as you have made a successful business, sold it, and then have money, will be helping others to do so. But there is a way to develop also the business angel. It's very important. We need to develop the startups, but we also need to develop the financing side of the whole thing so that we can finance projects like yours, for example. This is extremely important. We cannot be just building up the startups and the entrepreneurs, but we need to work on the other side. And you know what? On planet Earth, we have millions of problems. That's bad, is it? That's really bad. An entrepreneur sees opportunities. Every single problem is an opportunity to find a solution and to start a business to solve that problem, whatever the problem is. And this is something that is very important, is when you look at others, for example, if we take this, you were looking at, with Dashpoint, we were looking at how we see the world, and we want to bring that world to the others. But what is it what we can learn from the others that is useful to us? It's thinking different. It's taking another stage. How many of you have an own business already? Okay. How many of you want to have an own business? Okay. How many of you want to have a lot of money? Okay. How many of you want to save the planet? Okay. And how many of you want to save our soul, people? Okay. So if I say now that you stand up, each of you that cares about and is passionate about either people, planet, profit, please stand up. Take a look at you. You are the new entrepreneurs, and you will be saving our people, planet, and profit. Thank you.